this is a tough one to make, but it's been a few days or something, so I just want to talk quickly about the whole situation. And I think the first thing is this weird parasocial, creepy parasocial anecdote I have about how last night I had a dream where Mort was helping me win this competition, and we were just having fun hanging out together. And I don't think dreams mean anything, so I'm not going to read into it. I think it's just a random collection of things that are in your mind. So I don't know anything about that, so maybe I shouldn't speak on it. But yeah, I think I'm gonna reference Frodan's video a bit because I watched that and it's a decent video. But I think the main point, the first point I'll bring up is, I think from a utilitarian perspective, as someone who just plays the game, it's just bad. It's just a loss, I guess, because one, you're losing all the free content, and I'm not even talking about the streams or his gameplay videos. I literally do not care about those. I will never watch Mort stream. Maybe is part of the reason why I don't get it, but especially the last video he made. If you look at the last video he made, I think that's a great example of what we're losing, and that's sad, and I think it's gonna make the I'm so sorry. I think it's gonna make the game a lot worse, so let me go into that. The first thing is, I think the pros are generally pretty good at identifying balance. Even now in the post-stats era, you look at the last video Mort posted, oh my god, and he's going through day 6 tier list, and a lot of the stuff you're saying is correct. And I think from a player reading it, his critiques are if you play the game a lot, it all makes sense. And I know there's points where he's wrong because he don't have stats, so he can't know that somehow reactive shell, which has worse stats, not placement stats, but actual board stats, then yeah, so he can't know reactive shell is somehow OP. But or dummy with a gun, which I've always known. This is a side tangent, so I shouldn't say more, but I will say I've always known that just reading it sounds terrible. But I thought if you played with it, it's okay, it gives you TF, it gives you Darius, and it's somewhat of a combat augment. It's a combat augment stage 2. So okay, that's enough with that. But I think Mort is a bridge, because I think Mort, I guess this is maybe speculating, but probably not, but he engages with the pro community probably 10 times more than the other Riot devs, I'm guessing, in terms of the conversations, watching streams, stuff like that. So he's more in tune with what the pros are saying regarding balance. And if you see in his last video, he's literally pointing out the criticisms from the pro community, and they're literally making it into the patch notes. So I think that could still happen without him, but it's there will be less of it, which I think will make the balance probably worse. Not saying that pros know everything or that the balance team can't do their job, but I mean, it's like I just described. And the second thing is, first of all, I think a funny aspect of the post stats ban era is that you want to read the patch notes for the next patch as soon as they drop, because they give you an advantage on the current patch. Just funny, because I mean, I think people know what I'm saying, but like, you know which augments are OP, so you can start picking them. And Mort delivers stats in this video, so it's like, yeah. But I think that video was like really interesting, especially post stats, because we don't have insight into how the augments are performing, and it gives us a lot of insight into how, like, what Riot's perspective is. I don't care about the patch cycle or whatever. I know, like, I saw Emily complain of it. I literally do not care. It is what it is. But I think it gives us a lot of insight into the thought process behind the balanced decisions that they make, and I think that was insightful. I think it was cool, and I think it's sad that we will not have that anymore. So that's from, and those are the good things, I'd say. I know on the in terms of the bad things, people will say like, oh, Mortdog's like participating in the negativity and he berates chatters and he's egotistical. And I think, first of all, I think Mort does have an ego. I think the criticism that he does not respond to criticism well is a bit unfair, and Frodan talks about this a lot. Mortdog's like the bottom of the funnel for criticism, like, but like not in the way that like you'd think he'd get less. It's like it all goes through the bottom of the funnel, you know. So, and he has endured a lot of it for a long time. So, I mean, obviously he doesn't, I mean, I guess, I mean, the criticism is that he shouldn't respond by berating chatters, or I know famously he talked about how he would go onto a Reddit rant thread and troll people. Like, yeah, as the face of one of the biggest games in the world, you should not do that, obviously. That doesn't need to be said. But I also think, maybe it's my ignorance, but just it's the old cyberbullying, the technique to avoid cyberbullying, and I don't like endorse this. I think like cyberbullying, social media for kids, that's a whole different thing. But just turn off your computer. Like, don't watch Mort's stream. Like, I think he conducts himself fine in a lot, in most circumstances when he's acting as the face of the game. And then maybe like you're in a Twitch chat and he's like coming into Twitch chat to argue with you, or I think the most valid one probably is like his Twitter, maybe, because you're legitimately on his Twitter for TFT news, and then he's posting about how he's very disappointed in your subtle layer of toxicity, which I thought was hilarious. And Frodan brings up a very funny point about how Milk is like, no, Mortdog, come back. But then, like, just a few days, weeks earlier, he's literally copy pasting the Mort's copy pasta, which I think it's a funny copy pasta. And also, I think the whole premise of that copy pasta, that Mort was that pissed off by an emoji, I think that's like more, and the whole copy pasta itself, it's more a symptom of the deterioration rather than like a reflection of Mort himself, I think, in my opinion. So yeah, so I just think, from a strictly utilitarian perspective, the Mort outweighs the downsides. Specifically, having him like super hyper involved as he was. But I think, I mean, at the end of the day, I can live without that, you know? I mean, it is what it is. You get less dev insight. And also, he's like replying on Reddit to people, which I know is like, I mean, there's good and bad to that. Like, I think a lot of the time when he does reply on Reddit, he has valuable insight from the Riot perspective, from the dev team perspective. So yeah, that's another thing. But I think it's also just that, I mean, he's been there since the inception, you know? It's like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like losing something that's kind of fundamental to what TFT is. Also, another point, I'm sorry, I have to bring this up, on the utilitarian side. I also think that most of the people complaining about Mort's behavior, which I'm not defending it, I agree, like, like, for a while, it's been, you know, questionable. I mean, I already said this, but I think most of the people are like the hyper engaged people that watch a lot of streams and they like read Mort's Twitter and stuff like that. These are the people that like complain. Like, if I, and I could be wrong about this, but I'd imagine like the normie TFT players, like 60-70% of them, those are the ones that like hop into Mort's stream and say, wow, Mort, love the 90s video game music you're playing. Fuck the haters, keep it up, we love you, Mort. And they like watch his YouTube videos and stuff like that. So I think it's like, yeah, but I could be wrong about that. I don't really know for sure. But anyways, where was I going? Oh yeah, oh my god. Yeah, it just feels like your, I don't know, like your favorite YouTuber's retiring or something like that. I don't know. I mean, like, this is like a MatPat moment. It's like, I don't even watch MatPat, but it's like, feels different now that he's gone. And this is like even worse because it's like in, I mean, you can say integral. I mean, I think the community will be fine now that he's gone, but it's like he's been such a huge part of the community from the beginning. It just feels weird and different. And regardless of whether you think he's like, I mean, I think most people would admit he has like both positive and negative influences on the space. So, but I think, yeah, I mean, that's mostly it. And the win trading thing is funny. I mean, I don't have to say anything about that. I don't think it has any particular relevance to this. I'm just trying to think of the last points that I want to make. Did I cover it all? Oh my god, this part is so bad. I'm so sorry. But I really want to be sure I'm not missing anything. I mean, I think it's healthy. I think the perspective of like the current arrangement was unsustainable and it wasn't good for Mort and all that. Like, that's like, sure. I mean, to be honest, I don't find that conversation interesting because it's obvious at the end that it wasn't sustainable. Question is like, I guess there's the question of like, is it the community's fault? And part of Frodan's video was talking about this, about how Kiyun would say it's like impossible because if the game continues growing, then there's always going to be new people that don't have etiquette, that are hating on more. I don't know. I mean, there's like the discussion of like how much of it is like the pro players. Frodan said the devs often hate the pro players the most, which makes sense. But I do wonder like how much of it was the pro players, because I know it came down on DaySick, but I imagine it is a lot the pro players. You see what Dish Soap said after he got eliminated from the tournament. But I don't know. I think it's like pointless to speculate because it's not like I would ever have control, or anyone would ever have control over an entire community that big. And also, at the end of the day, it's Mort's decision whether he comes back or not. But if he doesn't, I think it's really sad, and it's a loss for the community. So, yeah, that's about it.